And it's going to come down to putting. Jon Rahm, first to putt. And you want a 66-footer. Jon Rahm from 66 feet away for birdie. He's like, hey, you hit a 43-1, DJ? I'm going to knock in a 66-footer. Watch this. Watch me knock this in for birdie. Rahm for birdie. He's pumped. It's like we're at the U.S. Open. We'll be there in 3 weeks. This is absolutely incredible. I mean, putting with precision is DJ. Putting with precision is Jon Rahm. And the emotion, I mean, this is absolute theater on a Sunday. So DJ, ensuing putt for birdie. Lengthy putt of his own. Needing this to force another playoff hole. DJ, won last week at 30 under par at the Northern Trust. Can he force another playoff hole? No! He comes up inches short. What a final round, and Jon Rahm wins the 2020 BMW Championship in a playoff over Dustin Johnson. Rahm's 66-foot putt to win is his longest made putt on the PGA Tour this season. Absolutely incredible. 5th win of his PGA Tour career. First FedEx Cup playoff win. What a finish at Olympia Fields Country Club, where the story for most of the week was how tough it was playing, and in the end, it's a playoff that decides the winner, Jon Rahm. What a tournament. Welcome in CBS Sports golf analyst Kyle Porter, Doug Bell. Absolute theater in the final round of the BMW Championship. Number 1 in the world, Dustin Johnson, battling number 2 in the world, Jon Rahm. DJ needing a birdie on 18 to force a playoff, hits a ridiculous 43-footer. Then Rahm hits an out-of-this-world 66-footer for birdie on the first playoff hole. DJ comes up within inches of a birdie. Rahm wins in dramatic fashion. I'm running around the newsroom when all of this is unfolding, Kyle. What is your reaction to how this played out?
I mean, pretty much the same. My newsroom is maybe a little smaller than yours, but so maybe I didn't get as much exercise as you did, Hakeem. But the entire, I don't know, last 30 minutes is insane because you're kind of looking at it and like, wow, Jon Rahm, Muirfield Village, Olympia Fields, this is unbelievable. And then DJ's like, oh yeah, wait a second, I'm not even going to hit the fairway on 18. He had birdied 18 earlier in the week, didn't hit the fairway, was kind of in a tough spot. I thought hit a pretty good second shot in there, but you don't make that putt. You can't make that putt. And he, like you said, hit the middle of the pin and it drops in. It's unbelievable. And then Rahm's tee shot on the playoff hole ends up almost exactly where DJ's was in regulation on the 18th hole, and then he hits the 66-footer, and you're just like, this is a joke. I mean, what am I watching here? It felt, honestly, a little bit like the Workday Charity Open when we got Colin Morikawa and Justin Thomas. We got some long putts there. JT hit the 50-foot bomb. It was kind of complete insanity there as well. This was maybe the graduated version of that in the playoffs with the top 2 players in the world. It was probably the finish of the year in golf, and a ton of fun to watch.
Years ago in the welterweight boxing division, Thomas Hitman Hearns and Marvelous Marvin Hagler in the opening round went for 3 minutes and just threw haymaker after haymaker. And some say it's the greatest round in championship boxing history. And what we saw today, those final 30 minutes might be the most exciting 30 minutes on the PGA Tour, certainly this season, but maybe in the last decade. What those 2 guys were doing, number 1 and number 2 in the world, number 1 and now number 2 in the FedEx Cup, was truly remarkable. It was an incredible show. And to think Jon Rahm now, let's while the putt was exciting, this guy shoots a bogey-free 64 on the toughest layout so far this season on the PGA Tour. And after the opening round, he was 8 shots off the lead. After 36 holes, he was 6 shots off the lead. After 54 holes, Jon Rahm was 3 shots off the lead, and he pulls it out, and for the first time in his young career, wins for the 2nd time in 1 season. And now I can't wait. Hakeem, I know you can't wait. Kyle, I know you can't wait until next week at East Lake. I think Dustin Johnson wants a little revenge. It's adding a little more drama, as if we need more drama next week in Atlanta.
Yeah, and this all started on Saturday on moving day for Jon Rahm with a 466. Could have been a 565, but had to take a penalty on the 5th green when he didn't mark his ball, picked up his ball, had to take a penalty, and then he follows it up with a final round 6 under 64. Kyle, what does this win mean for Jon Rahm?
Well, I think you combine it with the Muirfield Village win, and it's like, man, this guy he's really tough to beat on difficult courses. You know, Rory talked earlier this week about how Muirfield Village and Olympia Fields are probably the two most difficult, challenging setups that players have seen all year. And he included the PGA Championship in that and said, yeah, it's still Muirfield Village, Olympia Fields, maybe Harding Park where the PGA Championship was played. So for Rahm to win both of those, I was looking at combined scores for guys that played both the Memorial and the BMW Championship at the two most challenging courses. Nobody was within 7 strokes of him, Hakeem, and only Matthew Fitzpatrick, who was 8 back, was within 10 strokes of him, if you look at kind of the combined scores at those two tournaments that he won. So Jon Rahm's game travels. He's won all over the world. He's won a ton on the European Tour. He wins the Irish Open. He wins Torrey Pines. He wins Olympia Fields. I mean, this is big game hunter type stuff. And so you spin it forward and you're like, okay, well, not when is he going to win a major championship, but which major is he going to win? And I think you have to start looking at Winged Foot, the U.S. Open. There's 6 majors in the next 11 months. Jon Rahm has just an unbelievable game in every facet, and I think has what it takes to win multiple majors.
It's pretty exciting when the top 2 players get their games right at the perfect time, and Jon Rahm has now won twice in the last 5 weeks. And as Kyle mentioned, he's done it on 2 extremely difficult golf courses. And on the weekend now at Olympia Fields, where some of these fairways were like 15 and 17 yards wide, he led the field on Saturday and Sunday in driving accuracy. And he's not hitting it just 270 yards off the tee. He's bombing it out there well over 300 yards. And so, again, that is a formula for success, not only next week at East Lake, but in 3 weeks at Winged Foot. And then, of course, in November at Augusta. Oh, my gosh. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I just love it when the best players are playing their best golf when all these big events are coming up.
Well, hey, Doug, you took me there because Tiger will be there. His season officially ends, failing to qualify for next week's Tour Championship. Finishes 11 over par at the BMW Championship. Only the 5th time in his career he shot over par in every round of a tournament. His best round was on Sunday, a 1 over 71. He said that Sunday was more indicative of how he wants to play in a couple weeks, referring to the U.S. Open at Winged Foot in 3 weeks. Kyle, how do you evaluate Tiger's final round, and what are your realistic expectations for him at the U.S. Open?
Well, you know, he wasn't bad in his final round. He kind of talked afterwards about how he played a lot better in round 4. Even if the score was still over par, it was sharper. The problem, Hakeem, is, you know, he loses by 15. He misses a playoff with Jon Rahm and Dustin Johnson by 15 strokes. And, you know, that's not, you know, it's not like you're down 30 like Mark Leishman was or anything like that. But the margins at the top, I think maybe people don't realize how slim they are. And so to be 15 down to kind of the top of the leaderboard is actually more than it seems. His game is nowhere near where it needs to be to contend, not even just at a PGA Tour event, but on a major championship-like conditions, which is what we saw at Olympia Fields. So he's got to lag putt better. His lag putting was kind of miserable all week. He just did not have the speeds right. You know, and the overall thing is he just doesn't look sharp. And when you combine not looking sharp with a driver that's still, you know, he was missing right kind of all week. It doesn't add up for me going into the U.S. Open to say, oh, well, yeah, Tiger can contend. He certainly could, but I don't have a ton of confidence as we sit right now, a couple weeks away from Winged Foot.
I'm reminded of what the great football coach Bill Parcells said about his team one time when he said, we are who our record says we are. And that's exactly where Tiger Woods is right now. He played 7 times this season, and at the beginning of the year, he won at Zozo in Japan, then tied for 9th at the Farmers Insurance Open, played very poorly at Genesis, and then we didn't see him again for a long time. He's played 4 times since returning from the pandemic break, and he's been, I don't even want to say average, he's been a little bit below average. And when you stack up his game with Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm and Justin Thomas and Rory and all the rest, it simply does not stack up when you compare all the statistics and ball speed and swing speed. And here we are 3 weeks away from the U.S. Open, and to think he's going to just suddenly change things around, it simply is not going to happen. You know, the last time he played 7 tournaments in one season was 2008. He was 32 years old, an injury-riddled year, but he won 5 out of 7. And now at 44, we're seeing just a little bit of decay in his game. And I think he's a real long shot to contend at Winged Foot in 3 weeks.
Well, can always hope for a miracle, because that's what we saw on Sunday at Olympia Fields in Illinois. All right, before the U.S. Open, we've got the final leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs next week, East Lake in Atlanta for the Tour Championship. Doug, give us a refresher here. Break down how the winner of the FedEx Cup will be determined.
Well, it's exciting. They instituted this last year where Dustin Johnson will now go in as #1, and he'll start at 10 under par. Jon Rahm will be #2, and he'll start at 8 under par. The tournament is a Friday through Monday finish. Justin Thomas will start at 7 under par, and then incrementally it goes down. And those final guys that just got in, Mackenzie Hughes and some of the other guys, they'll start 10 shots back. Last year when they instituted this, there were some eyebrows raised like, I don't know about this. And some people said, if Justin Thomas wins, he shouldn't get credited for a real PGA Tour victory. But I think we all saw it works. It's exciting. Rory McIlroy came from 5 back last year to win the FedEx Cup. And oh, by the way, they call it the ultimate prize in golf. The winner gets $15 million. Second place, $5 million. It is the ultimate prize in golf. I can't wait to get to Atlanta. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I love the format. I think it's really good for the game.
So the winner of the Tour Championship will earn the FedEx Cup. Kyle, what will you be watching for next week at East Lake?
Well, I mean, to me, it's kind of what we just saw right here, which is Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm. You know, DJ obviously won at 30 under at TPC Boston last week. He was by far the best player in that field. He was tied for the best player in this field through 72 holes. But, you know, the thing that we maybe missed a little bit was Jon Rahm finished up really strong at TPC Boston last week. So I think you could make the case that over the last, I don't know, week and a half, the last 5 or 6 rounds, that these have been the 2 best guys in any of these fields. And so it would be pretty fitting, I think, if, you know, we got them two battling it out again at the very end at East Lake. You could throw other guys in there, a Justin Thomas, a Colin Morikawa. Those guys have had really great years as well. Webb Simpson's won a couple of times. But to me, the 2 best players in the world are actually the 2 best players in the world, according to the official world golf rankings, which is Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm. I think it would be fitting if the 2 guys that start at the top at East Lake were battling for that 15 mil. I mean, second place isn't bad either. It's 5 mil. So though you're missing out on 10 million, you still got a pretty good check going home.
I think the 2-shot lead for Dustin Johnson will be significant because I think it's going to be close right down to the wire. And again, DJ has never won the FedEx Cup. Jon Rahm has never won the FedEx Cup. Justin Thomas tried to win it twice along with Tiger and Rory McIlroy. And oh, by the way, Rory McIlroy starts 12th and he's on baby watch. His wife expecting any day now. And Rory could withdraw in the middle of the tournament. Who knows? So there's a lot to look forward to as we get to Atlanta next week. But again, all the focus on those top 2, let's say top 3 players, because certainly Justin Thomas will have a say-so in this championship.
Can't wait. Excellent stuff, man. Doug, Kyle, thank you very much. Again, Jon Rahm, 66-foot putt to win. Longest made putt on the PGA Tour this season as he takes home the BMW Championship. And for more awesome golf content, join host Rick Gehman alongside Kyle Porter, Mark Immelman, Greg Ducharme on the First Cut podcast, delivering tournament previews, including DFS plays, picks, and analysis while diving into the storylines that matter the most that will get you set for the Tour Championship in Atlanta next week. The First Cut podcast, download and subscribe today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.